Hello, friends, and welcome to Binge O'Clock, the podcast where we watch something and then we talk about it. I'm Joy Selden, and I've seen almost everything.
I'm Nyanga, and I've seen almost nothing.
And if you hear a laugh in my voice, it's because my cat is playing with a toy behind me, and it's distracting the both of us. But we can get through it.
Is turning her demon eyes toward the camera every so often. It's pretty spectacular.
Yes, I have my ring light on, and it must be catching her eyes. because it's the glowing eyes in the dark. Anyway, hi, friends.
Hello.
We're here to talk about Galavant, Season 1, Episodes 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
2 balls.
Yep.
And, oh no, what was the name of the Comedy Gold?
We'll talk about that. Comedy Gold. I was going to say, we're going to have to talk about 2 balls, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should... I feel like we talked about this in the first episode. Galavant's a little raunchy, so there's a little bit of raunchy humor in and around the show. I don't know how much of it we'll actually talk about in the podcast, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, some of it is raunchy, and some of it is that pre-2015 shine.
True. I know. 2015
It's a little
shine.
column A, little column B.
Doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well as 2008 shine.
Pilot shine.
It's pilot shine.
I mean, pilot shine's the favorite.
Yeah, but then there was something else too. There was like the year Almost Human came out, and I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Because we're talking about Galavant.
We're talking about Galavant, which episode 3 pretty fantastically begins with a musical Last Time On, which I really enjoyed. And I was secretly hoping that every episode would start with a Last Time On. I'm okay with a slight spoiler here. Joy, do any of the others start with a musical Last Time On? Is it like every other? Is it now and then? What's the deal?
It's now and then. I think it's now and then.
Okay.
As we get towards the end, like the end, the last episode, there's a funny joke about the Last Time On.
Oh, nice.
But I feel like it's every other episode. Actually, it might even be more often than that. Sometimes my Hulu will skip the Last Time On. So it'll start me like 25 seconds in.
Well, that's annoying.
I know. Like, look, I know I just watched it, but it's a song. I should be able to listen to the song. Why are you keeping the songs from me, Hulu? Why?
Right. You know, my Hulu didn't do that to me, although I will admit that when episode 4 started, I hit pause and then hit play from beginning just to make sure it didn't skip the Last Time On. So there 100% wasn't one at the beginning of episode 4. It was a lot of fun, though. I enjoyed it. Like, who doesn't love a bonus song?
I know. These 2 episodes are probably in my top 5 episodes of all time of Galavant. Like,
really?
Yeah. So 2 balls is sort of like the Jewish episode. We got a lot of Jewish in that episode. And you know, some character development. And episode 4 is Land Pirates, which how can you...
I mean, I was just going to say, how do you beat Land Pirates? It's like in Kipo when the Narharts showed up and you're like, well, nothing will be better than this.
I know. I know.
I thought they killed it with Rebecca and then the Narharts showed up. I thought they killed it with the cats and the Narharts showed up.
It did kind of peak with Narharts a little bit. I feel like we didn't get introduced to any... Did we get introduced to any other mutes after the Narharts that weren't like mega mutes trying to attack a boat?
I mean, you're asking someone who has to take detailed notes on TV episodes that, dear listeners, I finished watching these 2 episodes of Galavant no less than 20 minutes ago, and yet took notes on the episodes because I knew I would forget what happened if I didn't.
No,
it's
fair.
It's my brain.
That's fair.
There are holes in it.
It's also my brain. Like, I appreciate the notes you take because sometimes I completely forget the order of events. And I don't always organize them in what's important. I will also just be like, can we just talk about Sydney's parents for 20 minutes?
I mean, we can start by talking about Sydney's parents, because the episode basically opens on Sydneyland, complete with a statue of Sid, a little Janestown, which is fun.
A little bit, yeah.
But for different reasons.
Yes.
Sid the Conquering Hero has done literally nothing. Well, not literally nothing. Like, he's not a bad person, you know? But he has
he's
really...
a squire. He doesn't have good deeds.
No. Nothing to... And this is very much on purpose. Nothing to write home about. And so, when he writes home, he wildly exaggerates his adventures, and now everyone in this whole town thinks that he's a conquering hero.
I mean, it's very Jewish. You know, so we find out that Sydney is adopted by this adorable old couple in an extremely Jewish town in medieval England. And that they've dubbed Sydneyland because he has told them that he is a knight, that he has done all these great deeds, and everyone just wants a piece of Sydney every time he comes home to visit. And he's also told them that Galavant is his squire. And my favorite part of the episode is Isabella gets very excited about being able to act. And she does a little too much yes and ends up telling his parents that they're engaged.
I mean, it is pretty spectacular how into it she gets. It turns out everyone in Valencia really, really, really enjoys improv.
Yes.
Improv is what they do for fun. And so she just gets really into it. We need to talk about Sid's parents. Talk about Sid's parents.
I know.
I'll hit mute, go get a watch with my headphones in.
Yeah, right.
And just listen. Soak it in.
While I talk about this very Jewish parental couple, they're just, it's funny because it's not so much a stereotype as it is just like, no, they're just Jewish parents. It doesn't, it sort of walks that fine line. Like the whole town does this, right? It walks that fine line between stereotype and is it just funny? No,
I agree with you because quite honestly, I don't think I put two and two together. Like I didn't realize that they were meant to be Jewish until they broke into song.
Sure.
Did you realize it earlier that I missed things?
Oh, what is she? Doesn't she insult her own squire as they're sitting at the table?
Yes. They definitely insult their own squire. She has Galavant go and pluck a goose for them.
Yeah.
There's a few moments prior to the song, but I didn't clock them.
I feel like there's a moment where the mother gets very excited about the fact that Sydney has brought home a princess. Mm-hmm. And it just had, for me, it had very Jewish mother vibes. It was just like, you bring home somebody to your, so for me, I'm half Jewish. But in not necessarily in a religious sense, more in a cultural sense. So, 100% would I believe that you bring home a friend, literally friend. It could be a platonic friend, and it's they're a doctor, they're a lawyer, there's something, and suddenly the mother's eyes get real big, and there's a change in the. Ooh! Yes, exactly. Ooh, a doctor. And there was something about the way she was like, a princess, and it was just like, oh, she's just a Jewish mother. And I think there's something about the the accent that they have as soon as they see Sydney that just reads as Brooklyn Jew to me.
That's pretty amazing.
If you didn't know it before the song, you definitely know it by the song because they're also throwing around Yiddish words by that point.
100%. It really just slaps you in the face by the time you get to the song. No, I think I'm just a little bit less attuned to the clues and hints. And so I didn't realize until they broke into song.
No, that totally makes sense.
My home experience is so much the opposite where it's everyone is a friend until you're married. And living together, Before that, it's just oh, her friend. Oh, his friend,
So it's so there's no matchmaking element, is what I'm hearing.
Not so much.
No, okay.
Not so much. It's more deeply in denial until it's, quote, real.
I see. Yeah, that's not how the Jew do. It's a very I don't think that's how Jewish people do. That's not how any Jewish person I've spent significant time around has reacted. It usually tends to be this kind of thing of like, there's matchmaking is like big in Jewish culture, with or without a yenta. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. And I think it's just also because they're, they are older, like in canon, they're an older couple. So the age difference between Sydney and them is not as stark, right? Like he was basically raised by two Jewish grandparents.
Yeah.
Which I think also has its own level of culturalness to it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love that for him because it's basically created a character who just grew up as the softest boy.
I know.
Like the softest, most favorite, most loved boy.
It takes a village.
You've never heard that saying before? I don't think that saying's been invented.
I don't think it's been invented yet. There's also, I think we got
half
hints.
Of the story.
Yes.
Oh,
and
we got hints.
Just real quick, while we're on the point of like, are they Jewish? I think we got hints about this because I think Sydney said a Jewish word earlier in one of the previous episodes. Or like he might have said like oy vey or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, and until it's a little like, what?
Where'd that come from?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think there's been hints. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so half the episode is Sydney and Galavant having a moment of realization.
Yes.
As tiny and minuscule as it is.
This is completely an aside before we get into the other half of the episode.
Yes.
I need a way to refer to the core three characters in this show that isn't just the team. Because all over my notes, it just says, the team went to Sydney's hometown. The team, blah, 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 blah.
How about the party?
Like, I need the party. I'm in for the party. Okay.
What about the party?
Until the show comes up with something separate, like how Kipo came up with Brunch Bunch.
Yes.
Or I wasn't sure if there was a fandom name for the crew. Like how for Avatar The Last Airbender, it's the gang.
The gang. Oh my God, the gang.
I want a name for the team.
I haven't thought of that in a very long time. I have a feeling they don't differentiate them because Galavant is such a big part of the show. Mm-hmm. So it's like his name is literally everywhere. It's in the refrain of every song that happens in season 1. It's like, how would you even?
I don't know, but it's fine. I will just refer to them as the party or the team moving forward.
That's fine.
So anyway, half the episode is the team at Sydney Lands, and we'll talk about that more, I think, in a little bit. And half of the episode takes place in the palace with the king and Madalena.
Yes. Where the king is desperately trying, like everyone's bored. In Valencia. So everyone's bored. The king is trying to find a way to make everyone, I don't know, not bored, I guess.
Right. And I think that's a good way to put it because this is not, like, he's not a kind or good. There's no part of him that is good or kind, right?
Yeah.
So he's not trying to entertain them in order to make them happy. He just doesn't like that there's nothing happening.
Exactly.
So he decides to make his own fun.
He's just so blissfully unaware.
Blissfully unaware, but in a recklessly violent way.
Yep.
Like, there are many, many people who are blissfully unaware and don't go around killing people or, throwing violent threats their way or pushing them out of windows. But instead, he is blissfully unaware and extremely violent.
Yeah. It's when we eventually get to Our Flag Means Death, I would love to do a comparison between him and the Gentleman Pirate.
Ah, oh, I love our flag means death.
Because I know, but we can't watch it yet. It's still alive.
Yes.
We gotta wait until it's dead. No, I'm sorry. We'll see if that makes the cut. I don't want our flag means death to be dead, but it has to be dead for us to talk about it on the show. Anyway.
Very true.
For Galavant.
Anyway.
King Richard is it's so funny because it's like he'd be a precious cinnamon roll if only he like thought just a little bit harder about the things he was doing. Right?
Or if only every instinct of his weren't cruel.
Right. Well, every instinct he has isn't like, I mean, yes, it's cruel, but it's like he's also a child in many ways, right?
Yeah, but children are monsters.
Children are is that your professional opinion?
It's my professional opinion. Children are monsters.
Children are monsters. No, but like...
I mean, some of the meanest things I've ever seen have been done by blissfully unaware children. Because they just, like, do.
No, that's a good point. Because it's the carelessly cruelness of it. Mm-hmm. Which is actually what reminds me of the Gentleman Pirate. Because, like, he can be very carelessly cruel. And you would, like, if you weren't paying attention, you might have even completely missed it. Because, like, he looks like, a sniveling coward. But then he'll, like, do something that you're like,
whoa.
Oh, is he, though?
So, for example, the king has, I don't know, I'm still actually very confused about where Valencia is and where the king is and where the castle is. I don't understand any of it. Sure. But the people of Valencia are inside the king's castle. What do you call it when you burn down someone's crops and, like, salt the earth, basically?
I mean, I think it is just called that.
It is just called that.
He's burnt the land and salted the crop. Well, I don't know if he's actually salted the land, but he's definitely burned all of their crops, which, by the way, was their main source of food.
Because for religious reasons, they're vegetarians, right? And he saves this little wheelbarrow of carrots. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is that he saves this wheelbarrow of carrots and is eating the wheelbarrow of carrots, gets carrots stuck in his teeth, and is like, no, how do I solve this problem? Destroy the elder tree and turn it into toothpicks,
Because to him, it was just a tree. And probably what I would assume, a giant tree, right? You get a lot of toothpicks out of that.
A lot of toothpicks.
So there's a couple things going on for Richard, right? Like, he wants to have fun because he's bored. He also wants to impress his wife, who has never given him anything at all to indicate that she likes him, is nice, is interested, anything at all. Right. So he's trying to figure out ways to impress her, ways to get her attention. And
she's not shy about it.
Absolutely not. There's, it's interesting because I don't know if you get this also, but I get this really weird whiplash about Madalena because I don't actually know if the woman that like Galavant fell in love with was genuinely this like perfect creature, right?
Right.
Because really we only have Galavant's interpretation of her.
And she could have just been like falling over herself for Galavant because he was just this amazing, heroic, famous knight,
right.
And she assumed that he was going places, and if she attached herself to him, then so would she. And then a king came along, and you know what beats a knight? A king.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't that seem a lot more viable? Like, it just, there's, it's one of those things where it's like, obviously she was attracted to Galavant, but like you start to wonder if like she really loved him and if any of that.
I don't think that she did. That's not at all my interpretation. I think that this is a character who would like to move up in the world as high up as possible.
Right.
By any means possible.
Yes.
And here she is. Married to a king.
And so she is not shy about she's also not shy about the fact that she's having this torrid affair with the jester. It's not subtle, but King Richard keeps missing it because sweet summer child.
Or not so sweet summer child, but definitely naive.
Yes. Super naive.
I mean, okay, skipping ahead quickly. What he decides to do is throw a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Because he asks the people of Valentia, what did you used to do for fun? And they used to do improv around their elder tree. There is no more elder tree. And so they say they used... And here, well, I'm just going to say it. They turned this into a joke. But they say that they used to have balls. And so...
They do turn this into a joke.
They do turn this into a joke. Which I didn't love, but I'm going to skate quickly over it. The king decides to throw a ball. In preparation for the ball, Madalena goes off to write sets with the jester.
Yes.
I actually completely forgot where I was going with this. I got distracted by the fact that I didn't like that joke.
Oh, no. Well, but like, so he tries all these things, right? Like, he has them dance. Yeah.
I remember what it was, but it was skipping ahead to episode 4, so I shouldn't mention it here.
Oh.
I can mention it very, very, very briefly. Which is that I think part of the reason all of this goes wildly over the king's head is that even when he puts 2 and 2 together and figures out that the queen is, well, he doesn't put it together, but at any rate.
Well, even when someone puts it together for him, right?
With the jester,
yeah.
He decides that the way that he would like to impress her is by being funny. And it's like he doesn't even compute that sex is at all involved in this.
Yep.
Does not compute. He's like, oh, it's because he's funny. Obviously.
I know.
And that's why he misses it.
I mean, there's a part of me that kind of wants to spoil a thing.
Uh-huh.
Which, I mean, I know you've seen season 1 before, but I know you kind of don't remember it.
No, I don't remember.
But like, we eventually find out. You know what? I think I will spoil it because it was always an interesting point for me while I was watching this show, because I was like, how do you not understand that? Like, as someone who like personally does feel like her own sexual attraction to people, how do you miss that? What on earth would make you miss that? Right?
Right. I mean, are you about to tell me the king is canonically ace?
No, but I feel like he is coded that way. I feel like he is coded that way because
I'm going to be honest with you. I picked up on that in like episode 1 of this show.
Well, because what is revealed later is that he is a virgin. And so the problem I have with that is like there's a lot of, you know, like because he's a virgin, he just doesn't understand sex. Which is different, which is not the same thing.
That is different.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't want to sit here and be like, they're making a commentary on ace people, because I don't think that's exactly what it is. But I think if you look at it in 2022.
Also, like, not the representation we asked for.
I know.
Like, no thank you to the sociopathic king.
I know.
No thanks. I'll take Todd in BoJack Horseman before I'll take the sociopathic king.
I mean, no lies detected. But yeah, like there is a naivete that I think you could read that way, right? Where like you don't fully if you don't fully understand physical attraction, then you wouldn't.
So let me ask a follow-up question, which if this is, I mean, I don't really care if we spoil this particular part of the show.
Sure.
But the king is under the impression that Madalena has taken a vow of chastity.
Yes.
Does he think that she's maintained that and actually her and the jester are really just telling jokes?
Yeah, until it's revealed to him, he has absolutely no idea.
No, but by revealed to him in the episode, during the ball.
Yes.
Does he understand that they're having sex?
You know, it's a good question.
Or does he still think
it's a good
that
question.
It's all jokes?
I don't know. I don't know. He has to know because of the way that the person who reveals it says it.
Right.
Right.
Doesn't he just say they're getting it on or something like that?
I don't know. It's one for the age. Hey, listeners, what do you think is happening? Get at us. Get at us. Because it's so weird. I always have such trouble reading early Richard, right? Because Richard gets a very interesting character arc throughout the show. But
cool. Okay.
I mean, I think so. I personally think so. Because he, like you said, he is carelessly cruel, but he has to get to a place where he can actually think about other people 5 seconds in front of his face. And he does care about the people he cares about. And he cares about the pomp and circumstance of certain things. But the context is totally out of nowhere. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just because again, the vegetables, for example, of just hey, who's hungry? Well, I know I burned your crops, but I kept a little bit for myself. And they wheel out this wheelbarrow full of food. And then he sets it on fire because if I can't have it, no one can. And then he has a moment of, I see what I did there.
Oh, I see it.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, he sees that, but I think that part of that is that he's now realizing that he also cannot eat the vegetables. And so it would have been better if everyone had just eaten them, including him. Right? Because he doesn't see things like how after he raised their land and destroyed everything that they'd worked to create, he renames the land. Oh, yeah, take that, Valencia.
I know.
And is like,
And you proclaimed, oh, yeah, take that, Valencia. Like a brat. But this is why I have such trouble getting an actual beat on Richard. For some reason, I can't quite fully understand his motives, I think, because they paint him sort of wishy-washy of he's very tender 1 minute and then it's just and then he kind of drops the facade and he'll order somebody to death. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
They didn't explain it.
They didn't explain it. So that's the ball.
Yes.
That he's throwing. The ball in Sydneyland is to celebrate this engagement. And we have to talk about the squires.
Yes, yes, we do.
Because I will be so sad if we don't talk about these squires. These squires are so precious. And they're just real retail worker vibes.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I a little bit wanted Galavant to accidentally start a union at the end of that episode or something. Because he gets really into that song and is like, wait a minute, you're right. Y'all do all the work and get no pay. This is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what does the knight really do?
Really do. And everyone just makes fun of the squires, including the two parents who are oh, our squire doesn't have 2 brain cells. I don't remember what they say, how they say it.
And the squire just laughs because of course he does.
Just laughs. But then when you meet the squire in the kitchen, he's just a normal dude.
I know.
He's not, you know what I mean? He's not actually less bright than everyone around him.
He's not nearly as simple as we would be led to believe, right?
No, he's just a normal dude.
He's just a guy.
In fact, he makes a pretty funny joke, I think. I mean, I don't actually remember what the joke was.
The joke is, have you ever seen a knight get off
yes.
high horse?
Yes.
No, wait. What happened when the knight got off his high horse? I don't know what happened. Don't know. It hasn't happened yet. Or something.
You're right. It is something along those lines.
Sorry, everybody. I'm totally butchering that joke. But it was funny. It was funny, especially because Galavant was the one that was what happens? And it was just, and he got to be
They sing a great little ditty about how awful knights are.
Yes. And right at the end, Galavant gets to have, oh no, it's me.
It's me, which is our character development for our dear Galavant, which is how the episode ends, with Sid and Isabella continuing to play their parts. Sid is getting increasingly more uncomfortable the more and more serious this becomes for his parents and the entire village.
I know.
And
especially because
Galavant,
his parents get to have this deep heart to heart with him too of we're so proud of you. You've done so well. And he's just thanks, Dad.
And he knows it's all a lie.
I know.
then Galavant gives him this whole little speech about how he's, he's an honorable person who's true to himself and honest and dependable. And that's Galavant's favorite thing about him. And so as the episode closes, it's sort of implied that Sid is telling his parents the truth about who he is.
Yeah, that was the impression I got also, which I think is really sweet. Yeah, I do like that we also didn't see the aftermath of that, which I also think is kind of funny. Because it's like, I don't know. I'm sure his parents had some like choice words for him, but then they were like, whatever makes you happy.
That's the thing. Like, I think that the aftermath would have been just like an utter lack of drama because they would have for a moment been like, what? But Isabella's so pretty, princess. And then 3 seconds later would have been like, but we love you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what else are we going to do?
No, they're very supportive parents. And it's a whole village. Like,
yeah.
Such a good episode. So that's that episode. Hey, look at that. It's only 35 minutes in. Hey. Then we get into Comedy Gold, which
is great.
Which is so good because so here's the two storylines we have here. It's so funny to me because the namesake of the episode really has more to do with King Richard and trying
Pirates Gold.
I know. But it's such a stretch. You gotta stretch before you stretch on that one.
Pirates Gold. You're right. It's much more to do with King Richard. Like, it's literally a song that King Richard and the Jester sing.
I know. To be fair, I thought it was comedy. I forgot that it was called Comedy Gold. And I was like, is this episode called Together? Because that's what I thought it was called.
Oh.
But I know. But so Comedy Gold has, the two storylines. I think we can talk about King Richard first, and then we can talk about the pirates.
Yes, I agree. That's a good way to go.
Yeah. So King Richard is essentially makes the Jester, teach him about comedy and give him a lesson in comedy because he thinks that's the way to Magdalena's heart. Bless.
Which, yeah.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, buddy. And it's hilarious because they're going through all these things and nothing Richard says is funny. Like, absolutely nothing. And it's some of it's bad jokes. Some of it's just bad timing. Some of it's not even a joke.
Some of it is him learning that surprise is an important part of comedy and taking the moment to push someone out a window and then that someone dies.
And he just goes, well, he was surprised.
Well, he was surprised, and he gets the Jester to do all of this by threatening the Jester's life. I mean, listen, I know that the bendy sword was like, oh, hee, funny, but he also, casually threatens to slice off the Jester's face and sew it back on inside out. Yes, and it's like, that was very specific.
Considers it, and then goes, nope, I'm going with my first plan.
Yes. They were like, oh, that was a very specific threat. I do kind of love how the Jester is trembling with fear and his little bells are ringing.
No, and it's just jingling next to his ear. I love that Jester. He's so good. What a good actor and a good part. I agree. Solid. The Jester really shines in this episode.
At episode 1 of this show, I was so ready to hate the Jester. I was so ready for him to be this really irritating character that I wasn't going to like every time he was on screen. And he's taken it a complete 180 for me. He's not my favorite character by any means, but I like him.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I do, in fact, like him. But yeah, he takes King Richard through all these things. And the last thing, it's, and it is, you're right. In the refrain of the song, he's actually he keeps promising, yes, if you do that, it's comedy gold. It's going to be great. You'll kill him. You'll knock him dead. And the refrain is Richard being like, yep, or I'll kill everybody else. Every time. They're something about they'll be rolling with laughter or heads will be rolled. Or something.
Oh, yeah. Constant throughout the songs.
There's a lot of that. So none of his jokes are funny. And they somehow managed to put together a set for him that's all the Valencians are there, and there's a special seat for Magdalena, and she's right up front. And man, he's telling these jokes, but they are not landing. And even Magdalena is like, please stop. Just stop it. Shut up.
Yeah. And it's awful. Like, the first time he tells a joke, Gareth threatens everyone to laugh, and so everyone laughs. And I a little bit thought Gareth was going to do that every time, but he doesn't. No. Even he's over it.
Gareth has some choice moments in these 2 episodes, which are also pretty great. But
yeah.
You know, like, and then he tells another joke and Magdalena knows the punchline already. And then, like, he tries to tell another set of jokes and the jester is like, take out the cream pie. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's the
None
big
of this
finale.
is working.
Nope. He's dying out there. Take out the cream pie. And instead of putting his own face in the cream pie, he puts Gareth's face in the cream pie. And that's what everybody laughs.
Including Magdalena.
Yeah. And he gets, like, really excited about it and is just like, I did it. She laughed. Give me another cream pie. Let's throw another cream pie at Gareth. And Gareth, like, starts to unsheath the swords, like, or anyone else. Anyone else would be also be fine.
Or anyone else.
But, like, so we get, and what happens is Magdalena is like, you know, comes up to the jester afterwards and is just like, that was really sweet. I do not care. Like, come back to my chambers, right?
Yeah.
And the jester sort of has this moment of like, I don't know. I feel bad I kind of feel bad for the guy.
Now that he's spent so much time with him and he sees how genuinely, I suppose, the king wants Magdalena to himself. Like, I don't know a better way to phrase it because it doesn't feel like he wants Magdalena to love him. It just feels like he wants her as an object.
I feel like he wants her to
very
love
much
him, but he doesn't, like, it's not what, like, you and I understand as love. Right? Yeah. Like, I think he's kind of going through the motions of, like, I want her to love me, but, like, the only love he's ever actually experienced was from a maid when he was, you know, his nanny when he was a small boy. Like, right. We don't know what that is. Which is another reason I'm just like, this feels so coded ace to me. Like, it's just, there's a moment where I'm like, but.
It's okay, I don't want it. I don't want this.
It's okay, we don't want it anyway.
I don't want the arrow ace representation in the form of this character. No thanks. And
no thanks. Thanks, no thanks.
Thanks, no thanks. Yeah, and so the queen decides to throw the jester in the dungeon because she's like, well, if you're not going to come to my chambers, then I don't need you anymore.
You're growing a conscience. You get to stay in the dungeon.
Yep, hard no thank you.
Bless. And then, of course, the king shows up and he's like, Where's Steve? Where's Steve? And Magdalena's like, who's Steve? And it's just Steve Mackenzie, the jester. Did you not know his name?
She didn't even bother to find out his name. She just called him Jester, which again, this goes back to what I was saying in our first podcast episode, which is that, like, actually, the king and the queen are a perfect pair. Like,
you're not
actually,
wrong.
They are, like, equally inhuman and sadistic. And if only there was some level of attraction or something between them, then I think they would be a fantastic couple.
I mean, you're not wrong.
They enjoy doing almost all the same things.
I don't know if Magdalena enjoys anything. She strikes me as
Well, she enjoys her, quote, time with Jester.
Well, yeah, but does she? I feel like it's sort of a thing where it's like anybody could be in that bed. Anybody.
Oh, yeah. So it's not like the person that she's enjoying. It's the,
right.
PG-13 show. The act.
The act. But yes, so that's that half of the show. The other half is the party.
Yep.
Trying to figure out how to, do this last leg of the trip to get back to Valencia. And this is one of my favorite songs because it's...
yeah, me too. Wait, I think. Are you talking about the, we're working together or growing together song? Oh, I love that song.
I love that song so much because it goes through so many emotions of, when you're stuck with the same people for too long And it's just like, and it's in the beginning it was fine, and now it's not fine anymore, and now I'm done.
I love how, in addition to the minor travel grievances, they each just kind of have a fourth wall breaking interlude to just tell their secrets.
I know.
And so Isabella gets to talk about her guilt. Galavant gets to talk about how he's developing a bit of a crush for Isabella. So I guess it's now less one-sided than it was after episode 2.
Yeah.
And poor Sid is talking about how he's frequently ignored and then gets cut off. But I love the interlude for secrets.
And then they sing over him. I do like the evolution of that song because it's like, we're doing things in sync and we're like perfectly, like we're a team. We're doing it all together. We're doing the thing. And then it slowly devolves into, and we absolutely despise each other and we could kill each other if we wanted, but we don't. But it's fine.
I think my favorite moment was the moment where Galavant and Sid kind of like lean together and are like, maybe we'll go.
Yeah. Unless I kill the other two or we kill her together. Very good. Very good. Very good. Solid. I give this song a B+. Super into it.
A B+?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of songs in this show. I don't know. If each song gets a letter and a plus or a minus, I don't want to use it all up on episode 4.
I mean, you said that these are like your favorite episodes in the show.
No, they are.
I think you're allowed to give your favorite song in your favorite episode like an A-.
An A-? I'm going A-. I would volley for an A-. So the very end of the song, they are captured by pirates, which Isabella warned them about. But, whatever, you snore.
Yeah. So, she's always right, and it's really annoying.
So they get captured by pirates. I love the pirates. Also, the pirates are one of my wife's favorite parts of this whole show.
Well, I was going to say, I love Together, but I think the pirate shanty might, eke just slightly above Together.
Sure.
When I'm ranking the songs in this episode. The pirate shanty is fantastic.
It's very, very good. Because these pirates are stuck on land, and they're essentially become land pirates.
They're lords of the sea, just not the actual sea.
Yes. And that is the refrain of the song, and it's so good. And it's just...
Lords of the sea, though technically next to the sea.
Technically next to the sea. I like the plunder here and plunder there and then gather for drinks on the lawn.
Yes.
I think it's just so good. It's such a solid number. And I love the what happened to your ship? How did you get into the sorry state? And then it's like, it's a terrible tale. It's so gruesome and horrible. And if we can't tell it to you, you'll be sick to your stomach. The ship washed up on a hill and we can't move it.
It's stuck on a hill, friends.
Stuck. And hey, I guess it's stuck.
And so now they're land pirates. Land ho!
Land ho. Stop it, Carl. Stop.
So listen, things happen, right? And ultimately, where the episode ends is that it was all a morality tale, and it is all about working together, right? Because the whole reason the pirates haven't been able to get their ship off of the hill is because they've also devolved, having spent far too much time together. And so now they aren't the scourge of the seas, they're just trapped on their little bit of lands guarding this dinky river that no one cares about, right?
Yeah.
And if only they had worked together, then they would have been able to get their ship off of the hill.
Yeah.
And so, they learned that lesson, and so do Galavant and Isabella and Sid.
Although I love that they learned the lesson separately. Galavant learns the lesson.
It's pretty great.
Independent of Isabella and Sid. I guess Sid and Isabella learn it together, kind of.
Together.
Sort of. They learn it together. And then there's a together reprise where they all come together, the pirates and our party, to get the ship off the hill.
Yep. I mean, listen, I love the little twist in that episode, and there are two things I like about the twist, The twist being that they learn the lesson separately, right? Like, I like the surprise that Galavant is, in fact, still a good knight.
Yeah.
Because so far in this show, they've made it sound like he's completely fallen apart. And he kind of has.
I know.
Like, I guess he's not as good as he was. It's just that he started off so much better than everyone else. It's like, well, I'm still better than most people. And so he's able to, the pirate tries to give him an offer. I'll let your friends live if you join my crew. And Galavant just like very handily somehow switches the captain's sword so that the captain is holding a piece of rope and Galavant is holding the captain's sword. And then twist number 2, which is like a bit tropey, but I'm not upset by it.
Right.
Which is that he gets back to camp expecting to save the damsel in distress and the squire, when in fact, they have already saved themselves, which we really should have predicted because we've all seen Valencia handle a sword.
Yep.
I mean, what were the pirates gonna do?
I know. No, Isabella was totally prepared to just like, yeah, I could take him. I could take him. Yep. Sid, you tie everybody up and I'll just take him.
Teamwork! She didn't have her hot outfit on, but that's okay. I guess I'll forgive her.
It's fine. It's fine. I also really like that Galavant gets very protective of Isabella during the conversation with the pirate, with the head pirate.
I forgot about that. The pirate captain.
Yes.
Like, you don't understand. It's an actual medical condition. It's very like, only I get to make fun of my sister.
I know.
No one else gets to make fun of my sister, except not in a sisterly way, in a I have a crush on you way.
Yeah.
Because he'll make fun of her snoring to the end of the days. But if anyone else does, you better watch yourself.
Yeah, no, it's 100% that. And so then we have them all on the ship. The ship is going to take them to Valencia. And, we've gotten like little tidbits of Isabella being guilty about working for the king and bringing Galavant to his doom all throughout the episode. And then finally at the end of the episode, she comes clean and he is not listening.
Just not listening. I actually thought, because at the end of the episode, she comes up to him. Mm-hmm. They're on the pirate ship and she's like, all right, I want to make a confession. And the first thing he does is like take this little gift out of his pocket. It's trail mix with the raisins in it because he's so selflessly decided not to eat all of the raisins in this one bag of trail mix. Raisins are his favorite part of trail mix. I don't know if that's everyone else's favorite part, but it's certainly his. And anyway, he gives her the trail mix complete with raisins. And I thought that the show was going to have her just like lean into her crush a little too hard and decide not to confess.
Right.
Which is
the tropey
not, in
thing.
fact, what happens. That is exactly, exactly. That's the tropey thing. And they go in another direction, which is that Galavant is still who he is at the end of the day.
It's so funny because it's like, it's the what's the 4 stages of knowledge?
I have no idea.
There's some like grid that is literally just you know enough to be dangerous, or like nothing about a thing, or just enough to be dangerous, or like enough but you also don't know how to apply it, and then like all the stuff behind it and everything you need to know and you're good.
Okay.
And like
okay. Yeah.
I feel like Galavant is like, he knows enough to be dangerous because like he knows he should tell her and have this honest, vulnerable moment of like, actually, I really wasn't listening to you. I'm so sorry. I need to work on that. But sometimes I just tune you out. And it's like, no, this was not that moment. I know you're feeling very honest, but sometimes you don't say that. Galavant, that thing in particular, it's not necessary. You don't have to share that right in this moment.
No. She is still utterly charmed by him, though.
I know.
Which is where I guess the enough to be dangerous comes in.
Yes.
He's like just nice enough and just vulnerable enough.
Exactly.
To rope her in.
But not enough but like mostly to piss her off enough that she's like, maybe the king can kill you. Maybe
I don't betray my entire family for you.
I mean, my parents deserve to live. I don't know about you, though. Like, I feel like you could see that thought cross her mind of just like, nope, nope.
For this? No.
And I think that brings us to one more thing.
Yeah. Did you have one?
Did I have one?
I have one thing that we did not mention.
Oh? You go first, then.
Okay, the thing that we didn't mention is that during the King's Ball in episode 3, they don't have any musicians, I guess, in their kingdom. They only have a jester. And so Gareth decides to get a little creative and hires executioners as the musicians.
Yes.
And,
I do love their song.
I was gonna say, if in these 2 episodes, my number 1 favorite song is the Pirate Shanty, my number 2 favorite song is Together, my number 3 favorite song is the song that the executioners write after the king instructs them to write what they know. Write about death. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. But make it peppy.
Just make it peppy. Look, give me a beat. And yeah, it's...
They make it very peppy.
They make it very peppy. It's very catchy. And it's definitely the, like, like the screaming at people to laugh, like Gareth screams that, like, dance, and like everybody starts dancing. And it's very obviously like everyone's so depressed. And it's like, they feel like if they don't dance, they are actually going to be killed because there are literal executioners singing.
It's the sort of dance. It's the sort of dance you do, like at a wedding or at a big party where there's like the Cupid Shuffle, right? Where there's this series of prescribed motions, and so they're all just kind of going through them in perfect formation, and it's pretty spectacular.
It is. I
love the executioners.
I like the executioners too. We kind of didn't touch on this, but in that same episode, it's revealed that Sid collects figurines.
Ah, yes,
and I like that it's and it's you liked your dolls and your figurines. Okay, well, fancy dolls. Well, don't ruin this for me.
And he really did have a whole shelf of them. I mean, secretly, the joke that I wanted the show to make is that I wanted one of his figurines to be like a little Galavant.
I would have liked that too.
That would have been great.
I would have liked that very, 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 very much.
Went off to be a squire for one of the knights that he's grown up idolizing. Yeah. Not that Galavant is that much older than him, but Sid's a kid at heart.
No, I would have thought that would have been perfect. Absolutely. I think that covers it.
All right. Okay, so next week it'll be the next 2 episodes. Can't wait.
Yes.
I hope they start with the last time on, a musical last time on.
I think you get at least one. I'll be so disappointed
if they don't. Okay.
I think you get at least one. I can't promise that it's both episodes, but I'm pretty sure you get at least one.
As long as I get one.
Yeah.
I'm happy. All right, so with that, listeners, we would love to hear from you. Please check us out at Binge O'Clock Pod on Twitter and Facebook, where you can answer the question, what is your favorite trail mix ingredient? You can also email us at bingeoclockpod@gmail.com. And don't forget, we have a Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/BocPod.
That's right, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the live lobsters in your life about Binge O'Clock, and we will see you next time.